Bullhorn Betty rocks.
It is time to get this morning started, bitches! Come on in! Happy Thursday.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turbo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
Well, good morning to all my beautiful coffee beans. It is nice to see you this Thursday morning, and we've got a new case that's a little wild. We kind of got it just a teeny bit, a little bit late. Mr. Hooker's arrested. His wife is missing, lost at sea. These are kind of the van lifers like, Gabby Petito, except on the water with boats. And they've been doing this for about a decade. The daughter, stepdaughter to Mr. Hooker here, they were sailing hookers. That was their traveling name. They were on social media. They didn't have a huge following, but they did a lot of content online, and they were in the Bahamas. According to everything that we're reading, and he said they were on a dinghy in rough water. I mean, my uncle, I talked to you guys about my aunt and uncle. they sold everything they had, and they got their sea legs, right? And they got this huge sailboat and traveled the country, traveled the world. It's where my cousin, he was a chef, and he went out to the Bahamas, or to the islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, all them, the Caribbean. And he got bitten by the Caribbean, and of course he ended up being a chef out on the sea. He ended up becoming a chef for these mega yachts. People rented some of his tips, just taking people out. Like he served princes and stuff like that. Very, very interesting life that they had at sea. And then of course my aunt was like, after a few years, she's like, I gotta have a house. I gotta have my house. So my uncle sold the boat, bought her a house, and now they got their land feet back. But that was after them being on the high seas for years. And so it was definitely a lifestyle. I'm very familiar with the lifestyle. I haven't lived it. I'm not familiar like that, but I'm familiar because my family has lived it. I've had my family live the hobo lifestyle, let's travel by train without paying for it lifestyle. My part of my family, and this is my well-to-do family. My well-to-do family side of the family is kind of hippie, salt of the earth. They want to be, they have some money, but they want to squander it all away to be hippies and live off the land. So my uncle or my cousin that was a electrical engineer, put up solar fields in Peru and stuff like that for Bank of America, ended up, getting out of his profession, which he was making some good freaking money, and decided to get married and live in a camper. So, but they're all happy. They're all very, very peaceful, to say the least. But I understand it, and I understand the challenges and how frustrating it is being out there on the water and you're dealing with just yourself. And so it does cause a lot of different tensions and stuff like that. And we're hearing that this lady and this man went out on a dinghy on a pretty choppy water, and they're very seasoned at sea. So it's kind of making me say, well, why would they go out there with the seas being the way that they were? It seems very irresponsible for somebody that's seasoned with the water and stuff like that, especially on a dinghy of all things. I mean, a regular boat, 25 mile an hour, winds and chop, mild chop, that's, pretty, it's not going to matter if you're in a real boat. But when you're in a dinghy, those things could turn very quickly, especially being out there in the Bahamas, where you're just surrounded by a whole bunch of water. So we've got a lot of questions about this particular case. And of course, we're going to be getting into Nancy Guthrie. And we had more breaking news, because Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, confessed to 8 homicides, dating back almost 40 years. And I got to tell you, the look on his face when he was, allocuting to this stuff, it was creepy. It made me nauseous, folks. It made me nauseous. He seemed to, like, you could look in his eyes. He seemed to revel in what he did. It seemed like he was almost reliving it or remembering. To me, it was creepy. It was way, way, way creepy. So let's say hi to everybody. We got a small live this morning. We've only got 69 people in chat this morning. So guys, do me a favor. If you're coming in or you're on the replay crew, hit that thumbs up button. I'd really greatly appreciate it. If you have an opportunity to hype this show, please consider hyping it. And of course, sharing me around, right? Sharing me around. I like to do the work that we do. We are usually out in the field. We kind of been landside for a little bit due to legal expenses. Hopefully those are winding down this year, and we will be back out there in the field doing the great work that we've always done. Eeyore, good morning. Faye, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Arizona Raven is up way too early. It's nice to see you, love. DJ, it's nice to see you. The Real Me Too is up in the chat. I did want to give you guys a message. Lisa B. always had a successful surgery. She was still under the influence when she emailed me, but she did great. So I know everybody was praying for her, wanted some information. So there you guys have it. She did great. I don't know if she's going to be in chat today or she's going to be watching from the sidelines, but But anyways, just don't forget to say hi to Miss Lisa B. always. We are so thankful that she made it through well, and it looks like she's on her way to a speedy recovery. Humphrey, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Melanie up in the house. Good morning, my love. I hope you are doing well this morning. Eeyore Blues, I think I said hi to you. Our beautiful Sonia up in a chat this morning. Lowrider Life, it's nice to see you, love. Lady Gray, good morning, Mama. Fake news hater. Love it, love it. Linda, love it, love it. Good morning, good morning. Ooh, love it, love it. Where's love it been? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't recall. Love it if you're out there behind the sidelines. Morning. I was going through it. I was thinking of a few people, like Thank Heaven, or what is it? Heaven Sent, or Heaven 77 or something like that. I remember Heaven something. And then we had a lot of people I haven't seen in a little while. So if you guys are out there in the bushes, it's nice to see you. As you guys can see, the chat has finally calmed down. It's finally a nice, enjoyable place to be finally after 4 years of fighting to get it this way. And we fought hard, so I'm so thankful. YouTuber is here. It's nice to see you. Deb, good morning, good morning, good morning. Who else? Let Them 66. Good morning, Patricia. It's nice to see you. Good morning. Who else do we have up in the chat? Michelle, good morning. It's nice to see you. I think I said hi to all of you guys so far. Keep going. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but I don't think I am. Oh, Rebecca, good morning. It's nice to see you. Holly, good morning. Mama, I think I said hi to you a couple times now. Danielle, it's nice to see you. Groovy Gal up in the chat. It's nice to see you. Kentucky Girl, it's nice to see you. Good morning, good morning. Who else do we have? Who else? Let me readjust my hand so I can keep scrolling. Downy, good morning. Veronica, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Jewel up in the chat. Good morning, Love Bug. I hope you are doing well. I think we're down to the bottom of the chat, so it's nice to see you all. It's nice to see you all. So we have this family here, but before we get started, we got a couple other things in the cooker here, and one is related to Sebastian Rogers. We haven't talked about Sebastian Rogers in just a little bit, and we had at night Creative Intelligence post something, and they've been posting stuff regularly, and of course we've got Hindsight and her team, the mob crew, that are still covering this case, and we're going to be covering this case in conjunction now that the case for Nancy Guthrie is kind of starting to slow up a little bit. Now we can start doing comparisons between Sebastian's case and her case and Summer Wells' case, and start bringing those older cases back into the fold so we can give them, those beautiful faces, some much needed screen time, because we still have Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers missing from Tennessee, along with Holland Snap. And of course, here's Holland Snap, and of course Layla Santinello, 2 people. So we've got a lot of our largest pool of victims that we personally have covered are in the state of Tennessee. We've got 4 victims, probably more than 4 victims, just right off the top of my head, 4 victims in the state of Tennessee that we have been fighting for. All 4 of those cases have gone without being solved. So I just want to tell you, when I say that my problem in Tennessee is my problem in Tennessee, I mean every bit of that. They have no earthly idea what the hell they're doing in law enforcement. They can solve easy cases, but they just don't have the brain cells to think outside the box to do anything better than that. And it is such a shame. It is such a shame, because we got a lot of death, homicides, a lot of homicides, and they're never going to get around to it because they're too fucking broke. I'm so sick of Tennessee. Excuse me. I don't even want to, my blood boils with Tennessee. My blood boils with Tennessee, and every Tennessee person I know sticks their head in the sand. No offense. I get a little brash over it. Sticks their head in the sand and wants to be the good guy and doesn't want to push back and doesn't want to rock the boat. Meanwhile, we got all these victims out here that are going without being solved, and it's because of the leadership in your state. And nobody thinks that, oh, hey, we can vote ourselves out of this problem. No, they just keep voting themselves into more problems. And it's the most frustrating thing I've ever witnessed in the state of Tennessee. That is the most frustrating, blessed state. Like, Arizona is cakewalk for me. They have some minor modifications to make their state great. Tennessee, you can't vote your way out of the problems that they have right now. You need a lot of change in Tennessee. You need a lot of change in Tennessee. Fake news hater, we love you because you are all so down to earth. Keep up the great work. Prayers for the E family, Lisa, and anyone who needs it. Sebastian, prayers for justice. Amen for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen for that. Oops, shit. We're going to have to reset our... Oops, did I do that? I canceled out our freaking... Sonya's up here with the cuss words. I accidentally canceled out our live chat. I got to reset it because I just exited out of it. I'm like... So if you guys wonder why I did that, it's because I didn't mean to do it. Okay. We're back. Betty, good morning. It's nice to see you. I'm having one of those days. So they're saying, we will find you. We will expose you. We will expose those who knew of you. We will expose your family. We will expose your children. And at night, it's an eye for an eye. Come clean about the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers before you bring your entire family down with you. The choice is yours. We will never stop. We will never stop. And of course, we covered an explosion out in Tennessee, and this was an explosion that literally rocked. Because this was in the middle of, we're having a lot of things going on. We had some plane wrecks, our plane traffic control issues during this time back in the end of last year, the last quarter of last year. There was some funky things that was going on around our country, and then this AES advanced electronic systems or electromagnetic, I can't remember what it is, but AES just exploded and leveled. Like, boom, level. The building was gone. There was nothing left. The building was disintegrated. The office equipment was disintegrated. What you're seeing behind me here is all that was left. As you see, it was a leveled ground. Okay? There wasn't even a phone. You didn't even see a phone. The phone disintegrated, folks. The office equipment, the computers, the lab equipment, everything, folks, was turned to dust, including the people. There were 16 people inside this building when this happened, and they were turned to dust. I don't know how they were able to identify all of the people. But this right here, we thought it could be a terrorist attack, but we learned very quickly, and I will tell you, it didn't grow legs or anything like that. But that split second when we heard about this power plant, as a power company here in it, it's so we need them. Don't get me wrong, we need their services. It's just that they deal with some very, very problematic stuff. But there's violations here. We learned very quickly that this most likely was an accident. That one of the employees made an accident, and the chain reaction of that leveled this building. And so this was the largest. This is the largest fine that any company has ever received in the history of the United States of America. And to me, the fine is still too incredibly small. Their fine for this, 16 people lost, building leveled, was only $3 million. 100 violations. This is the largest fine in their history, and it's $3.1 million, 16 lives lost. Sometimes, and I'm not saying that this company, but sometimes fines and penalties are, financial burdens are the only thing that corrects companies from doing, irresponsible things. This right here, for a company that one contract is probably 10 times this amount, this does nothing to correct the issue. When you are fining a business, it needs to sting a little bit, right? when you're driving excessively expensive or excessive speed on the interstate, right? And you get that fine, and that bill is a $600 fine. That's pretty excessive. That makes you hurt a little bit, doesn't it? It makes you correct that because you don't want another $600 fine ever again, right? If it's just $50, you're like, next week I'll speed. I can afford $50, right? But you get fined. That's it, $3 million. That's a house. Yeah, but it's just not enough. It's not enough when one of their contracts is larger than that. You know, it's not enough. It doesn't sting. That's the problem. When we have fines for ourselves, for regular normal Joes, right? They structure the fines so they sting, don't they? They structure the fines for us so they sting. This, to me, $3.1 million is not a sting. It doesn't make them feel anything, right? It's a ding on the record, but who gives a crap about a ding on the record? We want something that's going to make them feel some type of way. Now, granted, they're going to have a lot of lawsuits, but that's going to be protected by the umpteen insurance that they have. These fines, they've got to pony up. I don't think the fines are covered under insurance. These fines should be a lot more heftier than what I'm seeing here. And just in my opinion, they leveled a freaking building and killed 16 people. And then we find out that a lot of it has to do with the fact that these employees didn't even know they were dealing with, all this stuff or what their safety protocols were. They had nothing there to train these people on safety protocols. You would think, well, they're dealing with explosives. They should be very safe. Yeah, you would think that. You would think that. But, still. Don't you think orientation for your employees is extremely important when you're dealing with explosives and combustibles? Just saying. So I thought this was interesting. This is kind of the wrap up. We covered this case. I didn't go out to Tennessee to cover this on the boots on the ground purposes, but we did cover it pretty extensively on this show. So this is the conclusion. We kind of got away from it once the victims were identified, and we kind of let it be because they still had a lot of cleanup to do. They still had a lot of work to do. But now we get down to the brass tacks of things. It was an employee's, there was somebody in there that made a lot of mistakes, or at least a mistake that had this chain reaction that leveled this building and killed their co-workers. And as unfortunate as it is, I don't know if we're going to know who that is until trials start ensuing. But it sounds like there was multiple violations. Obviously, they've got 100 violations here. But a lot of it has to do with them not even training, having contingency plans for their employees. What happens if this happens? What's the chain reaction? What can we put in place to keep it from getting worse? Nothing like that was done, and that's why they got all the violations that they did. So, Rex Heuermann, Gilgo Beach serial killer, right here. This guy here, let me get back over here. This guy here, creepy guy. Serial killer. This guy's a big ogre. I mean, he's huge. He's a huge mass of a man. He's a brick shithouse. Okay, this guy is massive. He's tall. He's big. He's creepy. And I want you to watch. You're going to listen to this, but listen, folks. I want you to hear what's going on in the court hearing, but I want you to look at his face. I want you to look at his eyes. I want you to look at his. Look at him now. He almost looks like he's excited. That turns my stomach. It turns my stomach so much so. But when he's answering the judge's question, look how his eyes light up. It was so noticeable to me that it took, like, I didn't even listen. After I saw him kind of grinning and kind of taking this all in and like proud of himself, you could see it. You could see it. It distracted. I heard nothing more after I started seeing it. I couldn't hear the judge. The judge is talking. He's answering. But I couldn't hear anything that was going on because I was so focused on how he was just almost enjoying all of this. It's creepy. Let's watch.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty
Look
you're
at
waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now these rights include your right to a trial by jury or by the court.
He's
Your right to
almost
have the
grinning.
prosecution produce evidence and witnesses to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Your right to cross-examine those witnesses and your right to testify on your own behalf or to remain silent. Your right to call witnesses or submit evidence on your behalf. Do you understand those rights as I've just explained them?
Yes.
You understand that by pleading guilty you're giving up those rights?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that by pleading
that
guilty to
face.
the charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty you're waiving
He's
a number of very
smiling.
important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now these rights include your right to a trial by jury or by the court.
It's just the pain, all that massive pain this man has caused people. Decades. And you know what? And what pisses me off? He was able to hunt more people. He was able to kill more individuals because they had a corrupted commissioner in New York that did not want the FBI involved and delayed justice for 10 years, putting countless women's lives in jeopardy. That commissioner should have been thrown in jail for complicity. He should have been thrown in jail. More women hunted, more women slaughtered because of a corrupted commissioner in New York. So we are finding out today, we started hearing about this story yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday. I can't remember exactly when it happened. We'll get more details as I start reading this. And we heard about this lady that went overboard, this heroic situation that happened. Let me pause this. It still keeps going. There we go. This whole heroic situation that her husband went through. Apparently they were out on choppy water. The wife ended up going overboard with some of the turbulence on that water. And she took off with the keys. Like, she had the keys on her. And so when she went overboard, he had no way of using the dinghy or driving the dinghy back to the shore. So, he's almost implying that they had this dinghy way, way out in the water. You should never have a dinghy way, way out in the water. It's just not safe. But I digress, right? We don't know what happened. What we hear is that this lady went overboard. She had the keys. Therefore, he had to swim back to shore. Now, how far can you possibly be where it takes you literally hours to get back to shore? I think that's kind of where everybody is acknowledging that this case just doesn't make sense, because nobody's going to take a dinghy. Nobody that's educated on the water, that knows nautical miles, knows how to read maritime maps, knows how to all those different types of coordinates and stuff like that. This story has a lot of red flags. It does. And so he's basically saying that she went over, he had the keys, and he had to swim back. And so he didn't get back until Sunday. That's why there's a delay in this reporting of his wife. And then his stepdaughter comes forward, and he's been the stepfather of her since she, I think 10, I might have that wrong. It might even be younger than that, but I think I heard 10. And she's talked about the domestic violence inside their home and does not believe that this was an accident, and believes that her stepfather did something to her mother. It sounds like they drink an awful lot, and we know that people turn into animals in some cases when they're drinking. Some people turn into just, I love you. And some people say, I want to kill you. So alcohol does a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I'm one of those people. I don't drink anymore, but when I drank, it really depended. I was fun, but I had that switch, and once that switch was switched, you pissed in my Cheerios when I was drunk. It was all over but the crime. I was in a funk from that point forward. I never quite got out of it. If I had a great time and everything was good, I stayed in that good time. But when things went bad, they got ugly, And so, could that be something like that, you know? And these people being in such close quarters for so long, it sounds like they've been doing this for a decade, though. So what truly happened? I do believe, you know, especially the fact that they've done this for a decade, they've never had any problems, nobody's lost their life, and now all of a sudden she's gone. I have to believe there's more to the story. We all know the statistics. We know the statistics. They're alarming. The statistics already is saying this man did something to his wife. So we kind of know that, and then we find out that the husband has now been arrested. We find that out just a few hours ago. It sounds like he was good. When I was preparing for this story, he had not been arrested. I started reading about this last night. By this morning, he's arrested. So the case is picking up. They do not have her. You know, oh, congratulations. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Congratulations. We love sober people. We love sober people. So that's kind of where we are. So let's just go in here and let's just get this stuff pulled up here for you folks. And then we'll just watch a little video here, get an update on where we are in the case. And here we go. Look at that water. That's what I'm telling you, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, the beauty, the water is so beautiful. The water is so beautiful, and I hear the lifestyle. Like my cousins, my aunt, you know, again, hippie lifestyles. They love the maritime, you know, lifestyle. They loved being on the water. They built their life around it. There are just some people that build their lives around living. You know, we hear about the van life, but long before the van life, there was this boat life, and this boat life is so much bigger because it's been going on for so much longer. Even years ago, you know, when I was working for a realtor, this was probably, oh, good gracious, back in 2009, 2010, you know, years and years and years ago, maybe even longer than that. There was a lot of, you know, we never heard about expat and the expat lifestyle, if I'm saying that properly, but it's these globetrotters that, you know, live in different countries in their retirement years to save money. Some people are moving to Honduras and stuff like that, where they can have, you know, a nice home, they can have food and, like, you know, live the lap of luxury, like have, you know, a nice home, have the cleaners and the, you know, the wait staff and stuff like that for what they're paying just on their mortgage here in the States, you know, and they're able to live this beautiful, you know, exotic lifestyle with, you know, actual people that clean their home, take care of their yard, things that we can't afford here in the States. And it's pretty interesting. And they're able to live pennies on the dollar compared to what we are able to live in the States. And some of these people wake up to the ocean every morning. Like the places that they live are just, they're amazing. And I was reading and studying this stuff years and years ago. So this is big. This, in my opinion, is bigger than the van life, because this is a worldwide network of these globetrotters and living, you know, on the high seas and stuff like that. So
tonight, an arrest in the disappearance of a woman who vanished on a boat ride in the Bahamas with her husband. Bahamian officials saying in a statement they arrested a 59-year-old American male, the same age and nationality as Lynette Hooker's husband, Brian. They did not mention the Hookers by name. NBC News has not confirmed Brian is the man arrested. A U.S. Coast Guard official previously telling NBC News they were opening a criminal investigation. Hooker had told investigators the two left Hopetown for Elbow Key on Saturday at 7:30 when Lynette later fell from their 8-foot dinghy. According to police, Brian says Lynette was swept away, taking the boat's only key with her and forcing him to paddle for hours towards Marsh Harbor, reporting her missing around 4 a.m. Earlier today, Lynette's daughter Carly sharing this voicemail with NBC News, which she says is from her stepfather as the search continued.
And they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. And
yeah, he is not concerned at all. They said something about his monotone. And here it is, folks. Here's that monotone voice we're hearing that, You know, he's over explaining. He's over explaining. Let's listen. Let's pay close attention to this. Let's pay close attention to this.
As is from her stepfather as the search continued.
And they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. And so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area.
Brian writing on Facebook, he is heartbroken, adding, despite desperate attempts to reach her, the winds and currents drove us further apart. We continue to search for her, and that is my sole focus.
I'm telling you that I'm a very strong swimmer. Okay, I know I've been trained because I've lived in Florida, lived on the waters my entire life. I've been trained to save people. I have been trained to know how to swim in a rip current. I know how to get under the rip current and swim at a diagonal and get out of it. You know, I know how to swim in very strong currents and waters, and how to save myself should I get pulled away. This woman sounds a lot like the stuff that I understand for myself, how to take care of myself. And I can't imagine a woman living on the water not having the same education or know-how that I do from living near the water my entire life. I was a fish. I have been a fish since I was a kid. We had a house with a pool. You know, back before it was before it was popular to be home with your children, we walked to school every morning by ourselves, even to kindergarten. We walked home by ourselves. I had a house with a pool. My parents weren't there. Whether it was wrong or right, I would get in my bathing suit and go swimming. I did not have fear of drowning when I was a kid. I have never had fear of drowning as an adult. I doubt when I leave this earth, I'm going to leave this earth as a drowning victim. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this lady lives on the water. She is a strong, strong swimmer. And it doesn't matter whether they have life jackets or not. Strong swimmers are strong swimmers. Unless you're hit upside the flipping head with something, the life jacket's not going to really help you. As a matter of fact, if you are a swimmer, your life jacket gets in the way, okay? The life jackets are only good, in my opinion, and I don't care what the government says. This is a disclaimer. Listen to the government, not to Bullhorn Betty, but I'm going to tell you my personal opinion. I do not wear life jackets when I'm on the road or on the water. I will not put a life jacket on. Okay, there's a few reasons why I refuse the life jacket, and one of it is if we do go overboard, I can't swim with a life jacket, period. I'm not concerned. The only thing that the life jacket's going to save me for, and it depends on which way I get hit in the head. If I get hit in the head and my whole face goes into the water, that life jacket's not going to save me. It's going to keep the back of my head afloat, but not the front of my head afloat. So, you know, you got to think of that. But the life jacket, I know people that, you know, are like, well, they need a life jacket. No, I'm telling you, for me personally, I am a swimmer. Life jackets get in my way. They're too bulky. You can't get any swim. If I'm going to be swimming, I have to take the life jacket off, right? I got to take the life jacket off, either tie it to myself or just let it float and just get where I got to go. But I tuck her out with a life jacket on trying to swim. It just does not work. I can get a lot more power under me without the life jacket. But again, I don't recommend anybody leaving the house without a life jacket. Always have a life jacket. There always should be enough life jackets on the board of the boat that cover the people. You're not required to put the life jackets on. You're only required to have the life jackets in the boat to cover the amount of people that you have on your boat. So they should have at least had 2 life jackets inside of that dinghy for them to be proper. But I digress. Personally speaking, if she's a strong swimmer, she's a strong swimmer. She went over the boat. She went over the boat. You know, anything short of like that propeller hitting her, and I don't even think a propeller, I mean, the propeller on the back, even on the John Boy little boats, can cause some damage to skin and body, but I don't think it's enough to injure to death. The propellers aren't big enough or strong enough. I mean, they could, but the probability of you getting hit in the right spot at the right time, at the right angle to kill you from that tiny little propeller on the back of a dinghy boat it's few and far between. Can you get hurt from that propeller? Of course you can. It can slice and dice just like anything. It moves very, very quickly. But could it kill you? Yeah, it could kill you, but the probability of it killing you is very low. So just to put that into perspective. So let's get back to this story.
A marine forecast from that day indicating strong winds and rough seas at the time Lynette went overboard. But Lynette's daughter now raising serious questions about the couple's history, revealing they had a volatile relationship.
They have history of not getting along, especially when they drink.
The couple were avid sailors who documented their travels on social media. The search now in its 4th day, but so far there is still no sign of Lynette.
All right, George Solis joins us now live from the Bahamas. Brian Hooker said he paddled to shore for hours. You're standing where he eventually landed. What are you learning about that journey?
Yeah, Tom, authorities saying he paddled to this marina right here. No sign of him here today. Locals that know this harbor well say the waters here actually aren't that deep, about 5 feet across some stretches, and a strong enough swimmer could make it to safety.
So,
wearing a black...
So there you guys have it. Authorities in the Bahamas have arrested the husband 4 days after his wife went missing. So even the Bahamas, they stated that it was based upon probable cause. Guys, give me just a second. The air conditioning's coming on, and I need something on my arms. Sorry, guys. It's just my arms. Everything else is fine, but my arms get a little cold when the air conditioning turns on, and the air conditioning turns on. It's just getting me too chilled. So I just feel bad because this is kind of like the lifestyle that my aunt and uncle lived, and you know, they seemed so happy, you know, with the lifestyle that they were living out there on the water. It's peaceful. It's amazing. I mean, you know, especially like I'm like a seafood junkie. I could eat seafood every day of the week and never get bored with it. I just like chicken. You guys know I could literally eat chicken every single day and never get bored with chicken. And that's the way it is with you know, seafood and stuff like that. And you get to eat seafood, like literally. I know for some of you guys are like, I hate seafood. Well, it's not, this is not the lifestyle for you. But for those like us, I mean, this would be like the best lifestyle, waking up every single day with the water, you know, jumping off out of your bedroom into the water just to go swimming first thing in the morning. How invigorating and refreshing that must feel and be. And, you know, sorry for my gibberish above. Hey, Teresa, it's nice to see you. Good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. We all have gibberish every now and again. Gibberish. So we're learning that on Saturday, April 4th, Brian reported his wife had fallen overboard and he had to swim back. Now, he was on a strip of, you know, I have to think that there were some type of amenities out there on the strip. And again, why did he have to swim all the way back to land from that strip? I mean, I can't imagine that strip being completely, but it might be. It might be. I'm not from the Bahamas. I know nothing about the Bahamas. I've never visited the Bahamas. You guys know me. I got American feet, okay? I've got American feet that stays on American soil. And when I go out in boats, it's not to cross international waters. I'm just saying. It's just to stay in the bay, you know, and maybe in the Gulf of America, you know. I like America. I like being around Americans. I like, you know, knowing that I have American law, that I can act a fool in America, you know, because I like America. You know, that's kind of where we're at. America, America, America. But they're over in the Bahamas, and based upon probable cause, they have detained and arrested him on suspicion of murder. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you. There's a post all over the place that you can call people for help. That makes no sense. That's what I'm thinking. This doesn't make sense. The whole, you know, why did he go to that side instead of back to his side if they were in the water? Just a lot of things. That's probably the stuff that doesn't make sense to the law enforcement out there. So he has been arrested. He is being detained. They officially arrested him on suspicion of murder. Now, their laws are much different than our laws, so you know, basically in our our laws, they would not arrest until they have enough probable cause that they can say he committed homicide or something else. And they're detaining him and arresting him on suspicion of murder. So I don't know what they do have. That's not been clear, and it hasn't been talked about. So we'll have to wait to find that out. Here in just a little bit. And of course, just to read this to you, actually, I think it's this one right here. Hold out hope for mom, whatever that means. We know the daughter is...
The daughter of a missing Lenawee County mom who reportedly fell overboard in the Bahamas, speaking out amid the urgent search. Thank you for staying with us on 7 News Detroit at 5. I'm Simon Shakette. It's a story that's drawn a lot of interest on WXYZ.com and our Facebook page. So we are following up. Lynette Hooker and her husband, Brian, are from Onstead. Brian says Lynette fell overboard Saturday night from their inflatable boat on their way to their yacht, which is named Soulmate. He reported her missing at 4 a.m. on Sunday. So far, search and rescue efforts are turning up empty. Tonight's 7 News Detroit reporter Whitney Burney speaking with Lynette's daughter about the search for her mom.
Bahamian police began their search for 56-year-old Lynette Hooker early Sunday morning. That search now stretching into day 3, and while the police have found some of her belongings,
and we now know that by day 4, they arrested. So this is prior to the arrest, okay? I just want to make sure that's clarified, but this just gives us a little different context.
Belongings in the water, her family is losing hope by the hour. As search and rescue efforts are underway for 56-year-old Lynette Hooker in the Bahamas.
I hope they don't stop looking until they find her.
Her daughter, Carly...
I can't imagine being her daughter, she probably hasn't seen her mom in a while because her mom's on the seas in the Bahamas. It looks like she's obviously on land in a home, and it seems like she doesn't have a lot of faith in her stepfather, which means she's had a tumultuous relationship with him. We don't need her telling us this. We can just tell.
Aylesworth from her home in Kent County pleading for an end to this nightmare. How are you holding up?
Not very well. I feel pretty numb right now. The shock is starting to wear off, and the sadness hits me in waves right now. But I'm surviving.
Hooker went missing at sea Saturday evening while out on an 8.5-foot dinghy boat with her husband Brian near Elbow Cay. Brian telling police they hit bad weather and his wife fell into the ocean with the key to the boat shutting off the engine as she was swept away. Brian reported Lynette missing at 4 a.m. Easter Sunday after he says he had to paddle back to land.
Easter Sunday. Unbelievable. Easter Sunday. What a despicable human being.
She fell off with the key and threw her a life jacket or something, and she was swimming towards shore, which I don't understand why she was swimming away from the boat with the key.
Aylesworth says boating was a lifelong dream of her mother and stepdad, who have been together 25 years and sailing for the last decade. The Lenawee County couple documenting their travels on Instagram as recently as April 3rd.
I guess today they did find the flotation device, so I don't know what that means now.
Does it feel like, is that a glimmer of hope for you at all that they might find her soon as well?
The longer it goes on, the more doubt I have they'll find her.
The longer it goes on, the more doubt I have that they'll find her. So that's the daughter. As you guys can see, she is emotional, as you can imagine, emotional wreck. Hasn't seen her mom. Her mom's now missing. Her stepfather, she doesn't, she knows him well. Obviously, he's been in her life for 25 years. And she talks, she's very honest that her parents fight when they're drinking. One thing out on the sea you do a lot of is drinking. Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the rum. The rum is pouring. So yes, people drink, people do crazy stuff, and that's kind of where we're at. Guys, thank you for allowing me to bend your ear about the new case. This is the sailing hookers. This is the lady that went overboard. Why do I keep forgetting her name? I don't know why. I know his name. Why did I know the hooker because it's such a catchy name. It sounds awful, but it is a catchy name. Brian Hooker, that's his name, Brian Hooker, and his wife is Lynette and Brian. So Brian is arrested. He's 59 years old. His younger 55-year-old wife is missing at sea, and they believe he murdered her. Or they probably got into an altercation. They got into a physical altercation, and maybe he shoved her. Maybe he hurt her. Maybe, he lost his cool and did something worse. So anyways, Lynette and Brian, there you go. And then now we're kind of getting back over to Nancy Guthrie's case. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandma, mom of famed Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman and has not been seen since being dropped off by her family the night before, the evening before. And we have no idea what kind of case we're looking at here. Is this a hit? Is this an abduction? Is this a robbery gone wrong? And I didn't go back and answer Mike's question last night, and I believe it was Mike, and it was, why take her? Why take her? And I think there's a lot of reasons why they took her. If it was a hit, they took her because maybe that was the requester of the person that ordered the hit. They wanted her removed. They didn't want anybody knowing what had happened to her. They wanted it to look as if she just walked out of the house. However, something happened in the process, and blood was transferred and dripped out of her somehow as they exited the front door. Another reason would be because maybe this person worked alone, and this had nothing to do with a robbery or ransom. It had to do with a sexual assault scenario, which we do have a palette in this country for individuals that have this fetish of geriatric sexual assault. We know it exists. We've seen many people arrested. People are spending the rest of their life behind bars right now. Since this case has happened and we learned about it, there has been an individual that has been arrested and charged with the sexual assault of a 94-year-old woman since this case. Okay, so the idea that there is not this appetite of some criminals and some individuals to want that power and control over an elderly person, there is that palette here. Okay, we do have it. This happens. This is not uncommon. Believe it or not, this is not uncommon at all. It's not as common as traditional sexual assaults, but it is common. This happens all over. It's sad. But prayer for healing. I don't know what's going on. Good morning, Candace. We definitely are the prayer warriors over here. So prayers to all. Everybody just keep everybody that needs prayers in your thoughts and prayers, because there's a lot. We have the family. We've got umpteen people in our chat that are constantly needing prayers because of things going on in their lives. Everybody just needs to be uplifted, especially in the world we're living in. It's ugly out there. It really truly is ugly out there. All right, so now we're kind of on back over to this 84-year-old grandmother that was ripped out of her home. We don't know what we're looking at here. We've heard a lot of different professionals tell us that this is an abduction for ransom, that this is a homicide, that this is a burglary gone wrong, that this might be something else, that this might be something related to resentment or something of that nature. We don't know. Okay, we don't know. I don't think law enforcement knows. I believe we're nowhere in this case. I think we're in a place in this case where we're going nowhere fast. That's just my personal opinion on what I think is transpiring in this case and what I think is where I think this case is going. First of all, I am shocked at some of the laws that Arizona have. I have never heard of a county being able to. Of course, we enact ordinances and all types of stuff for our county, but for our county commissioners to be able to attach criminal penalties to those, over and above fines. Like we can attach fines, but to attach a misdemeanor, a crime to somebody, we do not give our counties the authority to do that. Okay? That to me is very, very dangerous. You want your legislature creating laws for you, not your counties. Okay? And for your state to give the counties carte blanche to put rules in place and attach a criminal penalty such as a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor? Hey, Lisa, welcome. Good morning. We're glad you survived. That is scary for me. As a political activist, especially you guys out there in Arizona, you guys don't live like we live here in Florida. You guys are probably predominantly more democratic in nature. And so you guys should not be pro counties being able to arrest you. You guys should be anti-counties being able to arrest you. This is something that we can unite on, because I don't think a county should have that authority, okay? That's too much authority for people that don't have your best interest at heart. These people come from all walks of life. They can literally be anybody. And you're giving them the rights to arrest you. I'm sorry, folks. That's wrong. I hope you guys change that in Arizona. That would be the first thing I would change in Arizona. If I had to pick one thing for you guys to change in Arizona, it would be that law. That to me is so dangerous. I can see it, and I don't know how many victims that you guys have had of that. But no, you guys should not be arrested for parking in the road. You should be fined or ticketed. This idea that they can just arrest anybody, just create, whether it's lawful, illegal, whether it's constitutional or not, and then to put handcuffs on you. You guys have lost your way in Arizona if that's the way you guys do law there. And you guys are like, well, this is the way we've been doing it forever. No, it's not. I can guarantee that. Somebody put that in laws. It might have been 20, 30, 40 years ago, but it was not always done that way. I don't know who made it that way, but it has got to change, folks. That to me is one of the most dangerous laws that you guys have right there. That's scary for me. I see her at 4 a.m. Hello, I'm usually sleeping. Hey, Kimberly, it's nice to see you. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Manatee, good morning. It's nice to see you. Hobo's mom, good morning. Good morning. They can. Yes. Yes, they can. I watched them do it, and I thought, we need to start filing some complaints against the attorney. And then I started, figuring out what my process would be to start filing complaints and getting some things on the record. And I started doing my research, and I'm like, holy shit, they've done this. They literally have rules that allows them to do this. And I'm like, I don't think people in Arizona know that. Your county commissioner should not be doing that. Okay? Your supervisors should not be able to have the ability to put an ordinance in place that will get you arrested. That is insanity to me. Straight up insanity. Oh, Hobo's mom is 50 years old. Hey! All right. Well, looks like we're going to be doing a birthday. If you guys have not been here for the Bullhorn Betty birthday, we do sing birthdays. We sing birthdays. You get 2 birthdays a year, your BHB birthday and your real birthday. Hey! Whose birthday is it? Yes, we look ridiculous when we do this. And you know what? I'm an entertainer. What can I say? I don't mind looking ridiculous for my peeps. I don't mind looking ridiculous for my peeps, okay? Hey! Guys, it's Hobo's birthday, and what we do for Hobo's birthday is we sing happy birthday. We sing happy birthday. So guys, join with me as we sing Miss Hobo's mom happy birthday. I don't know if we want to do Brando or not. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. Some birthday wishes. All right, we will do Brando. You're 50. You're old enough to enjoy. Enjoy, little Brando. Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Hobo's mom. Happy birthday to you. Take some real pipes, baby. Take some real pipes. Happy birthday, Hobo's mom. And not do so good. I mean, we could. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Okay, we won't do that. We could do a lot of things. All right, we had our fun for today. Happy birthday, lovely lady. Happy birthday. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Now we got to poof the hair back up. We can't have all that flat hair. We can't have a flat hair day. We can't have flat hair, okay? Can't have flat hair. We've been working on it. Look how beautiful the hair is. And this is like day 3 or 4. I love my hair now. Now that I know how to clean it, wash it. I did a detox on it, and I've loved it ever since. I'm still gray as shit. I'm not planning on changing the gray. I'm going to age beautifully. I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it. You know, I'm gonna be 50 years old in a few years. What am I? Well, we're not quite 47 yet, but we're getting there. And I'm planning on being I'm just gonna plan on doing my 50s all natural. All natural, you know? That's what I'm planning on doing. Maybe once I get to 50, maybe I will start looking at the Botox, but I want to be all natural. If I'm gonna get my wrinkles, I'm gonna get my natural wrinkles, right? I mean, I gotta think I'm doing pretty good for 46. I don't have too many. I'm starting to notice the fine lines. But I don't have too many wrinkles, even with it. You know, I used to smoke, so I'm kind of thankful for that. You know, but we don't know what's still in our future. We might have cigarette lips after long. We don't know. We haven't gotten to that age yet. But I'll let you know. I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, I'll keep you guys posted. So now we're back here. What is going on? And do we have certain things that might help solve the case of Nancy Guthrie? You know, and that's really what we're looking. That's really what we're looking for. We're looking for a little edge, just something. We keep coming here day after day talking about Nancy Guthrie's case. Why do we come here day after day talking about Nancy Guthrie's case? Because we know somebody knows something. And we know that if we talk about it long enough, this might get in front of somebody's face, right? That can help. So it's like, it's one of these things where we're hoping and praying that somebody does the right thing. This has got to be really stressful on somebody, right? This has got to be holding and harboring this type of information, especially if she's dead, right? And you know that your person or you are responsible for the death of another when it wasn't your intention. Maybe it was. You know, you guys know my theory, my main theory. I've got many theories, but my main theory is that this was a hit and she left, you know, dying or in grave danger when she walked out of the house. I'm not really, I'm just not on the whole ransom note. I've never been on the ransom note. I've never been on the Tommaso, you know, bandwagon either. I've never been on the Dominique Evans bandwagon. I haven't been on any of these bandwagons. The only bandwagon that I've even given much weight to is Luke Daly. That's it. That's the only one I've given really significant time of my brain cell, my, you know, not what we talk about on here, But what I've given a lot of thought to as far as who could be responsible for something like this, and I'm looking more in the lines of Lute Daly. I'm looking more in the lines of somebody that may have worked on that house. I'm looking on the lines of maybe a distant relative. I'm looking on those lines. I'm not looking on the immediate people. One of the reasons why I'm not is because we're almost, we're in our third month, okay? We're almost timing out our first quarter of this case, and that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time to build a case against somebody or to get some information or some movement in a direction. We've got none of that. Could that be the letdown of what happened at the beginning of this case? They dropped the ball. They did some really hinky crap that we just don't understand why they did what they did when they did it, other than just to be to cause problems. There's no other excuse for some of this stuff except because they had a pissing contest with the feds. That's not good enough to take somebody's life, okay? And I feel that if she walked out of this house healthy, then it was Nanos and his bullcrap that got her in the situation we're in, because of their lack of forethought, their lack of experience, their just lack of everything. So this is Cheryl McCollum. I like her. I really do. She's really been the only person that has really stuck up for law enforcement out of all of this. She really has. She's come to bat for them quite a few times. She's just a cop's cop, and I like her. And she's sweet. She's kind. She really does try her absolute best to explain things to us and to keep us knowledgeable about certain aspects, and that I do appreciate. And it never hurts for her, because you could just tell she's another one of those people that you can just tell is just a sweet person. I don't think she's as sweet as, say, Savannah, but Savannah, I think Savannah does have, she's a sweet person, but I do think she has a very strong will about her.
So there's the drops, the 90-degree angle drops that you see that look like it might be from a nosebleed. Then there's the medium to high velocity spatter that some people have said they think that it's drops within a drop, but I don't. I think it's where she coughed. And then down from that a little bit, there's a transfer print. It looks to me, Jackson, like there was blood on somebody's hand right here and maybe on their palm where they just touched down. It almost looks like a Rorschach test. And then down a little bit further, there's a clear swipe where it was a clean surface and something that was bloody went right past it. So
with that, when I start processing this new information, when I start putting this into my cranium, when I start saying, okay, we have something that could be a sneeze or cough. Now we have a transfer pattern that could possibly be a hand. Could this help identify that she was hit, went down, aspirated or sneezed out or coughed out that blood as she's down on the ground, and then they pull her up maybe by the back of her pajamas, throw her over the shoulder and carry her out, or something? Maybe they were in front, something. Like, I mean, you start visualizing when you start hearing that could be potentially a hand. Now, the question would be, how could they not? We saw no dust, right? We saw no fingerprint dust. Those tiles would have been able to pick up fingerprint patterns, in my opinion. They did not process this front entryway like they should have. And I still believe that there's still evidence that could be had from that concrete. I pray to God that the FBI goes out and cuts out that blood from the front before any more damage happens to that. I think they need to go get it. I think it's been compromised for so long. I don't know why they won't get it. I think they need to get it. I think they need to cut out the concrete. We don't know what's there. We don't know what's there. What if we have a complete handprint of Miss Guthrie there that proves that she was alive and fell down? Right there. We need to know what happened. The concrete is still there. I'm not happy with that. The concrete has to go. The concrete has to go. Excuse me, guys. I got to sneeze. Thank you for your patience. We are on a live show. I have allergies. It's Florida. It's spring. Lots of pollen. Lots of pollen. So I apologize if I'm rubbing my face, if I'm sneezing, if I'm blowing my nose. I can't help it. We're on live, so you guys get to experience it all with me. We don't get to cut it out. We don't get to cut it out. So let's keep going.
Those 4 distinct different patterns tells me there was movement. A lot of people believe and have been very outspoken that there's more than one person involved. Where are the footprints? Somebody would have been in front of her, leading her out, and there would have been a second person. There are no footprints in that blood at all.
So she doesn't believe those are footprints. She believes that could possibly be a hand. And they didn't dust it, folks. Like, I'm just, it's like every day we come here and we try to look at this case, the Nancy Guthrie case, with, hopeful eyes. Like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We might actually be able to find out what happened to Miss Nancy Guthrie. And then we get here and we find out another mistake, and then another mistake, another ball dropped, another missed opportunity, and it just keeps, they keep piling up. They keep adding on. They keep just, it's getting to the point where we're drowning in the mistakes. We're drowning in the mistakes. And I feel so bad for the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the people, the deputies that are working their ass off. And they just had poor leadership, poor training, poor everything. And they are feeling let me just put it like this. When law enforcement gets, at least my understanding, bear with me and I don't speak for everybody. This is just the people that I know. I know that when people get into law enforcement, they get into law enforcement because they love their community. They don't get paid well. They could lose their life at a drop of a dime. And they put up with a lot of crap. Okay? So for them to do this job, it's not because they want to be powerful. It's usually because they want to do better for their community. They want to be the change. Cops get such bad names. They want to show the world that they rise above, they're above the cut, And so when they're out there and they're working their ass off, they're trying to make a difference. They're trying to accomplish something tough. And in a case like this, where you have detectives and people out there, blood, sweat, and tears looking for this lady and just thinking outside the box, and then they're getting clubbed over the head by people like me, people like the media, and we're not trying to club them over the head. We're trying to club their leadership over the head. But it feels all so, like we're putting them, we're stripping them butt naked and sticking them in front of the world to see. That's the way these law enforcement bodies, even though it's not their fault, they take personal responsibility for some of this stuff. And it sucks for them because I know that they're working really hard. And then they've got people like me that just don't give them, the people that are working really hard, the appreciation. That's why I stop my show every time I'm about to club their sheriff over the head. I want to make sure that they know that we out here appreciate the work that they're doing, and that we know that they're working around the clock to bring Nancy home. But again, we need results, and we're not getting results. And that's hard for everybody, including the people working this case. And again, partly some of this stuff is their fault. And, and I have to hedge against that because let's face it, the CSI team should have known better, period. So I have to think that they were given instructions by this supervisor that has no earthly idea what the hell he's doing because he has no homicide experience, telling them to just get this, 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 and this. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. And that's what got them in trouble. And that is exactly why we've got the blind leading the blind. And it feels like we're just beating up everybody. And it's not their fault because they were doing what they were told to do. But again, the CSI dropped the ball because this was their wheelhouse. They knew better. If an average Joe like Bullhorn Betty that has no law enforcement experience can look at that front of that house from out the gate and say this was not processed right. And then we find out this is not processed right. That is bad for CSI. I'm an average Joe. If I'm an average Joe and I know better, you that went to school to do this, we know that this was bad. Now, whether they did a shoddy job because they were instructed not to do this, and this, that's a valid argument. But if they were told to thoroughly forensically investigate this house and they did that, well, that's all on CSI, period. So I don't know what it is. And because of that, it makes it a little hard, but I'm not going to I'm not going to beat up even CSI. The only thing I'm going to say is make this a lesson, the damage is done. But do better, do better. Oh, Rachel, average Jane. There you go. Just do better. You can't go back and undo what has been done. It's done. And so here is something interesting that I came across, and I was hoping it was an article that I could read, but it's not. It's a 4-minute video, and this was, if you guys know about Page 6, this is, I feel like they're affiliated with the New York Post for some reason, because I noticed the New York Post really does advertise a lot of Page 6 publications, and I have to think that this is somehow, like maybe the Post is the parent company and Page 6 is like an affiliate or something like that. But I've noticed that Page 6 is getting a lot. I've never heard of Page 6 before, like within the last year is when I started hearing about this Page 6 and about these, people that are writing these articles and stuff like that. But again, not very familiar. So Page 6 is usually a publication. So now we're getting a video here. It's kind of getting me a little wonky to say the least, but it was very informative. So I figured we would have a little bit of a discussion. We'll play it just for a few minutes of this or a few seconds of this, and we'll play a few more seconds of it. It's about 4 minutes long. We'll probably turn this into like a 10 or 8 minute show on this video.
This week, Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show after her mother, Nancy Guthrie, went missing on February 1st. It's been a harrowing 2 months, but staffers at the Today Show were actually given explicit instructions for Savannah's return. With more as our senior...
Oh, I remember what this is about now. Okay. So we know that Savannah Guthrie went back to work, and we've noticed that there's not a whole lot of talk about her mom, right? Outside of a few just saying welcome back. It was really business as usual on the Today Show. And while I think that that's important, I do think it's important, I was unaware about this instruction to their commentators. So while the entire show got an opportunity to publicly say, welcome back, welcome back here, welcome back here, welcome back here, all the commentators that came up that they bring on that aren't part of their show, that aren't part of the few co-hosts of the Today Show, they're considered commentators. They're people that they bring up for little segments here, little segments there. And they were specifically instructed not to welcome her back and not to speak about her mother. So I thought that was a little odd. I mean, I kind of understand it is business as usual. This is a mega corporation. They have, a studio in New York. It's probably costing them an arm and a leg. But still, I mean, this is a major case. And she has this huge national platform, and we're not going to be welcoming her back, and we are not going to be talking about her mother. Just a little interesting, and I understand why. It sounds like grim, like I'm saying it, but business is business. This show has to go on. I mean, the proverbial "the show must go on" it still exists, right?
Reporter Mara Siegler, what was the Today Show staff told?
So it was the correspondence. So these are not
correspondence.
So Melvin,
that's what I meant.
Welcome Savannah back. It was really quick. It was like welcome back. And Savannah was like, ready or not, let's do the news. Jenna Bush Hagar welcomed her back. Al Roker welcomed her back at different points in the show. But the correspondents who came on were explicitly told not to mention her mother or welcome her back. Now, there is a practical reason for that. You can't keep stopping these segments. Savannah would then have to respond. They wanted to, what my source says is, Savannah's back. They had done the interviews with her before. Now she's back at work. It means it's back to business as normal. They're just trying to move forward. At this point, it's been a really hard year.
Yeah, it's both just a practicality thing. It's live TV. You got to keep the show flowing along. And also it's, professional thing. We don't need to constantly bring up someone's family tragedy.
Exactly.
On air.
Behind the scenes, we did get some quotes for people. It was emotional. Okay, so another source told us there were lots of hugs. Coming back to a routine brings a sense of normalcy. She's prepared to go back to Arizona if there are any major developments in the case or whenever she's needed.
So she does plan on going back to Arizona. We still are no closer to learning what vehicle was used in the commission of this crime. No earthly idea of knowledge of how many people are perceived to have been incorporated in this crime. Was it 1, 2, 3 or more? We have no idea where they could have possibly taken her, but we know based upon everything that we've seen, everything's a day late and a dollar short. So did they reach out to, hotels? Did they reach out to Airbnbs? Did they reach out to these storage units? Did they reach out to these things early on to find out if there was any activity, especially on these very specific dates that they've identified, which appear to be the weekends leading up to the kidnapping? And I'm still not convinced that the dog died of natural causes. I think that this is entirely, the loss of that dog is entirely too close to her kidnapping. And it seems like this was thoroughly checked out. So I feel like there was something that happened even as far back in 2025 to help this activity somehow, some way. Oh, Robin, it's nice to see you, love. Driving to Houston, so can't talk. Well, good morning. Welcome. We're glad you're listening. Good morning. So I'm not convinced. It may very well be a nothing burger. I get it. The dog was, from what I hear, was sick, had cancer. But how convenient? That's my point. How convenient. I'm interested in the dog. I really am. Because this is my thing. If you have an ailing animal and you know that animal is sick, if somebody were to poison your animal, they may not know your animal is sick. Only you know your animal is sick. Only your close family knows your animal is sick. So if your dog was poisoned, for example, and your dog had cancer, and you knew your dog, didn't have very much longer to live, and then one day you wake up and your dog has expired, wouldn't you automatically assume the dog died because of their illness? I mean, how many people are going to do a blood test when they know their dog is already ill? Very little. I'm not getting a blood test. If my dog's diagnosed with cancer, if Delilah's diagnosed with cancer, I mean, I play the tape through for myself. If my dog, it was with me, it's just, me and the dog. Dirty Boy says this is a nothing burger. It might not be nothing burger, Dirty Boy. I get it. Appreciate you being here, by the way. But I think about, I try to play the tape through. If something happened to Delilah, if I knew that Delilah was sick, if I knew she had cancer, and I wake up one day and she expires, would I really have my vet do a blood test to see if she's poisoned or if something else happened? Of course not. It's a waste of money because I've known for months or even a year that my dog has cancer and that she's going, her days are limited. Her days are limited. So I think it's awfully suspicious. I'm not saying that it's anything to do with anything, but we have to remember a lot of research we can tell on Google Trends happened in 2025. It happened from June to the end of the year in 2025. And so hearing that this dog just recently lost his life in 2025, in December of 2025, a month before this lady's birthday, and just days, literally a month and 15 days before she was taken out of her home and never seen again. It just, I'm very suspicious about everything. Like every single detail of this case has a new lens for me when discussing it, including the dog. I had no idea the dog just recently passed. That is super, super suspicious for me. I'm in true crime. I don't believe in coincidences. And I'm just saying that it could be, like Dirty Boy said, it's probably a nothing burger. But again, it's still an avenue that I think warrants scrutiny. Just me personally, I believe that this warrants scrutiny. So now we know that she's back at the Today Show. We know that she is, she's dealing with this. She's struggling with this. We could tell by the message for Easter. We can only imagine the struggle that Savannah is going through over her mom. We have to put ourselves. This gets weirder. Suspect by the day. I agree. It does. But we're always bouncing back and forth. We don't have, and this is, and law enforcement's not going to help us, right? They don't care about the public. I mean, they want to keep us informed. This is a national interest case. All eyes are on Pima County Sheriff right now. So they do want to keep us informed as much as they can, but at the end of the day, it is getting weird because we don't even know whether we're looking for one person, two persons, three persons, or more. We don't know the vehicle. Is there a vehicle that, we all agree that this lady was immobile. They could not move her without something to move her in. Okay? That's just common sense. Okay? So what was it? We don't know. A vehicle, a dumpster, a gurney. Something had to have been used to transport this lady. We've got nothing. So we're in this dazed and confused scenario when it comes to this case because the basic information that we always have in cases like this are being withheld from us. And it's causing us heartburn and suspicion. Like, we're thinking the sheriff is trying to cover up this stuff. I believe there is a cover-up here, but I don't believe it's a cover-up of the crime. I think it's a cover-up of their incompetence. That's what I think the cover-up is. And we're no further along in this case. Like, we're all back here hoping and praying that law enforcement has a hell of a lot more than we think they do, or that we have, and we know they have to have more than what we have. But I think we're giving them way too much credit because I don't think they have squat. I won't name the man that also disappeared, but it was so close time-wise, it makes you wonder. Yeah, there's a lot of things that make me wonder this day and age about this. Like, this whole thing about them truly thinking this lady got up and walked out of her home. And when I heard that and we saw this masked gunman, my brain just went back to all the other times I've heard those statements. An elderly person just wandered away from their home. Yeah, it happens. But most of the people that wander are found. What about the ones that are never found? There's more to those stories, and nobody looks into them. They're just still open missing person cases when they should be homicide investigations, letting evidence just wither away and go away because law enforcement doesn't want to pull their head out of their butt. And we deal with this all over the country, and it's very frustrating, and sometimes it comes across as resentment for law enforcement, but I promise you, we're not resentful, we're just frustrated. We're frustrated that we are dealing with stuff we should not be dealing with anymore. Like, since John Benet Ramsey's case, we should know how to shut a house down as a crime scene. Why are we still having these issues in 2026 is beyond me. It's incompetence. It's just failures. Straight failures of shit that's normal and customary. When you have a missing person, shut the flippin' house down. Turn it into a crime scene. Yes, it's a little extra work, but it's not about the children or the person that comes home and is found. It's about the ones that aren't. And when you don't do this strategy each and every time, you drop the ball when it really matters. And that's what we have in Summer Wells. It's what we have in Sebastian Rogers. And it is now what we have in the Nancy Guthrie case. Very, very specific issues with these cases. And it comes back to the initial handling of these cases by law enforcement. And the fact that each of these cases have an element of corruption in those very law enforcement bodies. All three of them, corruption. In all three of these cases, we have law enforcement corruption in every one of these cases that go unsolved. Why is that? Why do we have these very specific elements in these cases when it comes to law enforcement, and it equates to these cases not being solved?
It was a morning of hugs, tears, and break.
This case is going nowhere, and it's going nowhere fast. That's the point.
Her mother is not back home, but Savannah Guthrie is back at work. It was a morning of hugs, tears, and brave smiles on the set of NBC's Today Show this morning as Guthrie made an emotional return to the anchor desk for the first time since her mother Nancy's disappearance more than 2 months ago.
Good morning. Welcome to Today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not?
Yeah.
Let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back.
Guthrie wore bright yellow, a symbol of hope and remembrance for missing loved ones. The anchor fought back tears as she greeted fans on the plaza outside the set, many of the fans wearing yellow pins and holding signs with her mother's picture on them.
Good morning.
They've been waiting for it. They've been waiting for it.
These signs are so beautiful. You guys have been so beautiful. I've received so many letters, so much kindness to me and my whole family. We feel it. We feel your prayers. So thank you so much.
Guthrie had acknowledged the challenges in returning to the show, but said it was part of her purpose right now. Guthrie shared how her mother's disappearance has tested her faith in an Easter message from her church yesterday.
Perhaps this is too dark a message to share on Easter morning. But I have long believed that we miss out on fully celebrating resurrection if we do not acknowledge the feelings of loss, pain, and yes, death.
Thank you, Deanna.
No suspects have been named in the 84-year-old's disappearance, just this terrifying video of a masked man outside Nancy's door the morning she vanished. The hefty reward of more than $1 million, most of it donated by the Guthrie family, apparently not enough to yield any solid leads in the case. Potentially farcical and fraudulent leads, on the other hand, are not in short supply. TMZ posting it received 2 new ransom notes today from a...
I will tell you, I am done covering TMZ ransom notes. I refuse to cover from this point forward, unless it's on a thing like this. I'm not covering any more ransom notes from TMZ. I think that it's breeding more. I think it hurts the family. I think it hurts this case. And I have to do what I think is right. You know, whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's what I think is right. And I am not going to cover any more of this. I think it's painful. I think every time they cover another ransom note, it's just creating another vacuum for another wackadoo to write in. I will refuse to cover any more ransom notes from TMZ. I think that we agree that these are, at least the ones here, these last few, these last dozen or whatever, are fake. So I'm not going to continue to cover fake news on my channel. It's fake. So from this point forward, We are no longer covering TMZ's ransom notes. Until there's a ransom note that has been legitimized and published for the world to see, I refuse to acknowledge any more of these ransom notes. It's creating a vacuum and it's creating toxicity in this case. And it's got to be hurtful for the families to keep seeing this crap. And I'm not contributing to it. And I pray that everybody else does the same thing. Quit talking about TMZ's ransom notes and get them to shut up. If they need to turn these over to the FBI, let them turn it over to the FBI. It's not breaking news information anymore. It's bullshit. And I'm tired of covering it. I'm tired of listening to it. We all know it's garbage. It's a waste of space. And it's not bringing us any closer to bringing Nancy Guthrie home. We're done with TMZ.
Repeat sender concerning the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. In the first note, the sender reportedly said Guthrie is dead, but asked for 1 Bitcoin to reveal where her body is and who the kidnapper is. Shortly after receiving the first note, TMZ said the person sent them a second letter, the writer reportedly adding, "I saw her alive with the kidnappers in the state of Sonora, Mexico." 1 Bitcoin, by the way, is worth about $70,000. As to why an honest tipster would forego $1 million reward for $70,000 in Bitcoin, well, we'll let you think that part through.
Because we know it's horse crap, okay? What is it?
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5. Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
This fake news was indeed fake news. We don't want fake news.
Okay, everyone. Great job back in the kitchen.
For more on where the case stands, we're joined now by former homicide prosecutor Matt Murphy. Okay, you've got so much experience on all of this.
This is the main part of the show right here. This guy right here, okay? He just breaks it down. And he doesn't, this is the reality of the case. This is going to end the show right here. This is the last little clip that we're going to be presenting to you guys. And we're going to be discussing, but it's going to be grim. It's going to be grim. Hey, Rena, Joanne, it's nice to see you. Shiloh, good morning. TMZ is the Modern Inquirer. And that's what I say too, Shiloh, me and you. That's exactly what I've been saying. Teresa, good morning. Sheer circulation in my part, but I think 3 total co-conspirators perps. Gotcha. Michelle, good morning. I'm finding it extremely difficult to believe LE. I cannot find where these notes are coming from. Harry Levin, I know. I created a monster yesterday. Let's turn it over to old Harry. We need to stop. Quit picking on Harvey, you meanies. You guys are so damn mean. You guys are so mean.
What is your best instinct telling you? What are your sources in law enforcement telling you about where the investigation stands and what might have happened?
Well, the investigation is going nowhere fast. And the thing is that it could be anything. It really could be anything. Leadership matters. And unfortunately, tragically, this is a case where leadership has failed not only the Guthrie family, but I think the entire voting bloc of...
the sheriff has had a no confidence vote.
Multiple no confidence votes. He's hitting on all of the major issues. Hey, Betty fan, it's nice to see you. I'm trying to get my caramel. I have to go to this is too full to put my pump in there yet. So and I always accidentally put entirely too much syrup in my coffee because you get 1 pump per cup, and it makes it's a perfect blend. And when I have to guesstimate, it just makes it either too sweet or too tart. So, all right. I'm still, just to let you know, Brenda, it's still Tony's in my cup. I just thought I'd let you know that you got me addicted to the Tonys. Matthew, good morning. It's nice to see you. All right, the case is going nowhere and nowhere fast, and leadership matters. This is what this prosecutor is telling us. Leadership does matter, and because of these failures in leadership, it has really derailed this case, and it's caused a lot of problems in the community. So let's just backtrack 10 seconds so you guys can hear it for yourself. Come on in. We are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case, 84-year-old grandmother ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman. And who is that masked gunman? We do not know who they are. So if you know who they are, please reach out to 1-800-CALL-FBI and turn them in $1.2 million. You can remain anonymous. So that means if this ransom guy that knows where Nancy is, he doesn't need just to get $70,000. He can actually get $1.2 million anonymously for that information. So it makes you question, why is he going to TMZ begging for $30,000? Probably because he thinks TMZ will give them $30,000 just to find out the information, knowing damn well they have nothing.
Tragically, this is a case where leadership has failed not only the Guthrie family, but I think the entire voting bloc of
the sheriff has had a no confidence vote by his own rank and file, unanimous. And one sheriff's deputy from Pima County told me this wasn't even the first no confidence vote.
Right. I worked a murder case out of Newport Beach with the Pima County Sheriff's Department in 2004, and they were absolutely outstanding. They were top drawer law enforcement all the way. I don't know what's happened, but this is clearly the family deserves better here. So do the voters of Pima County, and it's important to mention, it does not stop with Chris Nanos. There's
That's the sheriff of
That's
Pima.
the sheriff. The top law enforcement official is a woman named Laura Conover. She's the district attorney. And when you see a sheriff's department going out with Bearcats and SWAT teams to detain Uber Eats drivers that turn out to have nothing to do with it, that's an investigation that's in my view, that's performative, that's out of control. And if you
So he's saying the DA has culpability here. Now, we talked about yesterday about strategy for this, especially yesterday afternoon. In my opinion, as I heard this previously, we need to focus on Nanos. I wouldn't be worrying about the DA just yet. I think that right now, just keeping everybody focused on one guy is going to be the best strategy, because at the end of the day, the department has to get cleaned up. And the DA can be recalled at a different time, but right now the focus needs to be on the sheriff. We need to get a new sheriff in here. We need them to get this case on track. We need them cooperating with law enforcement, the FBI, and other people. You know, we've got a lot of alphabet soups of our federal government in here involved in this case over and above the FBI. But this case really should be turned over to the FBI, and we need somebody to do that. And Chris Nanos still to this day is refusing to turn this case over to the FBI. We need this case in the FBI's hands. They've screwed it up enough. It's just time to just, you know, just give it away. This has been horrible for this community to watch. These are the citizens, guys, and don't tell me that every single citizen is not putting themselves into Nancy Guthrie's shoes and saying to themselves, you know, she's getting this. What would happen if it was me? Because let's face it, every citizen out there doesn't have a famous daughter. They're not getting this Guthrie service if they go missing or if they're ripped out of their bed in the middle of the night by masked gunmen. So the people in this community, I would be very fearful of not having a new sheriff, because you all know you wouldn't be getting this type of service. You would have, if somebody came into your house and ripped you out of the bed, and the information that they had then for Miss Guthrie and they had for you, you would have just been labeled as wandering off from your home, not being abducted by masked gunmen. So I just want to put that in perspective. You need new leadership. But I would work on your sheriff. He's the one that is running these investigations. He needs to be replaced. The next person, I would say start going after your DA if she does not, or he or she does not start falling in line, right? But right now, your focus, the whole community's focus, does not need to be on anybody else, and you do not need to be creating allies for the sheriff either. So we just need to focus on the sheriff, keep him out there as being the redheaded stepchild, and get him out of office, and keep that focus on Nanos right now. Let's not lose that focus at all on anybody else, and let's not start talking about taking anybody else out of office, giving him an ally that's going to help him, okay? We need to keep this tight, we need to keep it focused, and we need to keep it on Nanos. That's just my opinion.
You, based on inexperience, have some sheriff's deputy who kicks a door in and you find Mrs. Guthrie, or you find a body, or you find critical evidence. All of that is getting suppressed because the DA herself is not involved in any way that we've been able to see. Vertical prosecution is very important because it marries the prosecuting agency with the detectives. And remember,
yeah, just to point out, when you were a prosecutor in Orange County and you prosecuted homicides there for more than a decade, all of them successfully, you were on the scene of every murder scene. You were one of the first people there.
Think about that. We saw the DA out on Sebastian's case within 24 hours, 48 hours, very quickly, and I've been on so many homicide cases. Seeing the DA out there is nothing normal or abnormal for me because I'm used to seeing them out there at the scenes with the detectives. But in the case of a few of these, like even Sebastian Rogers, I dismissed it because I'm always used to seeing DAs, but very rarely do I see DAs out on the property for missing persons. But again, this rose to the level, even though they did have a policy to bring in the homicide investigators, it still rose to the level of bringing homicide investigators in, but they didn't follow it through. That doesn't make sense to me.
There so that you could assess the evidence. But we have not seen this DA be involved in any way in this case.
No, we haven't. And the thing is that every murder case, it's like what they say about Mount Everest. Climbing to the top is only half of it. You got to get back down again. Catching the person or figuring out what happened is only part of it. The most important part in a lot of ways is then successfully prosecuting the case, which means decisions have to be made now, correctly and in conformity with the United States Constitution, so evidence doesn't get suppressed and the defense doesn't have a field day. And that's that.
Evidence suppressed, and so the defense doesn't have a field day. This case is already going to give the defense a field day. I can tell you, no matter who is ultimately arrested for this crime, we're going to have an uphill battle in prosecuting. I guarantee it's going to end in a plea deal and reduced sentence. What you bet? What you bet?
That is the DA's fault. That's Laura Conover in conjunction with Chris Nano. So right now he's getting all the heat. She's escaping too much of the spotlight, in my opinion.
You have a theory about what...
And we need her to escape responsibility for right now. Strategically, she could really help Nanos keep his job. You don't need to marry them two together right now. Just my opinion.
Might have happened based on some conversations you've had. I know it's just a theory, but I'm curious what it is.
Well, I've talked to other prosecutors and other homicide.
Calm down, Julie. Go get yourself a cold shower.
Investigators and even judges. And look, this has all the makings of
Woo,
some sort of.
It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. Julie. I wish I had something to splash you. I don't think I have a water on. We got to whip one. Yeah, if you guys are wondering what's going on, Julie's got the hots. Julie's got the hots for the DA. Julie's got the hots for the DA.
Damn.
She's like, boring. We love you.
Money-related, interpersonal issue with perhaps somebody that owes her money, or somebody that might get money after she dies. You just don't know. But here's the thing about all murder cases: you have to keep an open mind. And I cannot tell you how many times I walked into a scene where you see one thing and you think it's one thing, and it turns out.
This is what I keep talking about. That's why I said law enforcement should never decide what evidence is. Their only process is to collect, bag, and tag. Collect, bag, and tag. Collect, bag, and tag. They let the labs decide what's legitimate evidence and what isn't. And so all too many times we do see them making these decisions that they shouldn't be making. So I just wanted to point that out.
All murder cases. You have to keep an open mind. And I cannot tell you how many times I walked into a scene where you see one thing and you think You think it's one thing, and it turns out to be radically something else, which means you have to keep an open mind, which, again, when you have a sheriff who's up there eliminating suspects, saying this person's eliminated and then walking it back, you can't eliminate anybody until
he's only eliminated the family.
But you can't eliminate anybody until you know who did it and you understand what happened.
So this goes back to why everybody's so up in arms about the family. Now, we did a poll here. I just want to make sure that you guys understand what the poll said. We did several polls here about this, whether Chris Nanos cleared them too soon. But I strategically asked these questions, and I asked them, do you think that the family is involved? And of course we had, people haven't shaked Tommaso or Annie yet. So there was about a third, maybe even 50% of the audience that believes that there was still a family element or dynamic here. But when I asked the question of whether they thought the clearing was premature as opposed to being somebody involved from the family, everybody put premature. The majority of our audience put premature as opposed to because the family's involved. So they felt that there was a feeling that even though the family didn't do this crime, that by clearing them, they thought the clearing of them was just bad timing, out of place, and premature. So I thought it was a very fair, poll to have, where we have a diversity of people that think that the family's responsible versus the people that don't think the family's responsible, and then you put another caveat on it. Do you think it was premature to clear them? And people said yes, it was premature to clear them because it was premature to clear them, not necessarily because they felt that they were a party to the crime. And I thought that was important. I thought that was ultra fair, and I think it kind of bodes with what this guy's saying about this should have never happened. You should have an idea of who it is, whether you label them publicly as a person of interest or a suspect. You should have somebody that fits the bill before you ever clear anybody. But we have to remember they cleared a lot of people in the Idaho 4 case as well before they had identified Brian Kohberger. So I also want to remind you of that. There are certain situations where by keeping the person under the cloud of suspicion is more dangerous. And therefore, because of safety concerns, they have to clear the individuals that they know had nothing to do with it. And so I'm not completely opposed to the clearing of individuals depending on the circumstances. But in this case, my audience believes that the clearing was way premature. They weren't getting enough. They weren't being threatened. They weren't, like, we've seen a lot worse situations where, people's lives were a little more in danger than this. Like the Idaho 4, for example, those students were getting death threats. I'm not seeing this family or hearing that this family got death threats because of this. And therefore, there was no real rush or urgency to clear the family. So why did they? Is really the question that I have.
Super quick, I was struck by something Atlantic Magazine put out today, quote, about this case and the Guthrie family. When you're hoping for a happy ending, it may not occur to you that one day you might find relief from any ending at all. But this is the hard truth of true crime. The crime itself rarely resolves as neatly as made-for-TV shows.
No, that's exactly right. That's well put. And this is the reality. A lot of murder cases and a lot of what families go through in these things, it's agonizing. I prosecuted murder cases that took us 15 years to get there. I prosecuted cases that went all the way back to the mid-'70s. So it takes sometimes an agonizingly long period of time, and that's with professionals working the case. The FBI is, by the way, the best in the world at this sort of thing.
Right.
And, we'll see here. I think that this case will eventually be solved.
I hope so.
I don't like that. I don't like eventually. We're in 2026. Eventually, I'm an impatient woman. I think things should be done to the best of the people's ability at the beginning. We would not be here if we didn't have lack of leadership. I truly believe this case would be further along today if not for Chris Nanos. I think the whole world believes that. I think his community believes that. And yeah, we can put some onus on to the DA, but at the end of the day, I think the problem child in this community is that sheriff. We can tell because he thinks he owns that community. When I saw that sheriff driving his Corvette so recklessly, let me tell you something. And you guys can take this shit to the bank. I am as honest as the day is long. If I ever saw my sheriff do that, ever, I would have my foot so far up his ass, he'd be spitting out my shoelaces. And I guarantee if you asked Rick Wells right now, if he drove reckless or put people's lives in danger, if he thought he would get a call from me, I guarantee you he would tell you I'm almost certain. There's one thing in this world I can't stand, and that is people of power putting the little people, I consider myself a little person, in danger. I cannot stand the haves and have-nots. I know that they exist, and I know they will always exist. Life's not fair. I just want to make sure that the playing field is at least a little level for us. And when I see somebody recklessly putting citizens' lives in danger, I tell you what, I would come unglued. I would cuss at my sheriff. I would tell him exactly how I felt. I've done it to his detectives before. There were times when I've been here for a really long time. Okay, the only place I've ever lived, just to let you know, it's going to be my only place I've ever lived until I start heading up to Tallahassee. And I got to tell you, it's just, I saw him driving that Corvette. I swear to God, if I saw my sheriff, my voted sheriff, acting so recklessly, and I saw that with my own eyes, he would have an earful. He would have an earful, and it wouldn't just be from me, because I'm one of those advocates that send stuff around and make sure that he's not just getting a call from me, he's getting a call from 100 different people. You know, I'm one of those type of tattletales, right? So I found this appalling and disgusting. This sheriff doesn't even care about the well-being and the health of his citizens. He cares about being and feeling powerful. That's what that activity showed me when he was driving that Corvette. He felt powerful. I don't like that. That is not a quality we want in our sheriff, ever. So if you've got a sheriff that acts like Chris Nanos, fire them. Don't let yourself have a Nancy Guthrie before you realize how horrible that sheriff is. If you've got somebody that acts like Chris Nanos, you guys need to really start thinking highly about getting rid of them. Okay? There's votes coming up. We're in 2026 in November, just a few months away. We have an opportunity to really wake up America. I hope everybody takes that opportunity. If you have been voting the same way your entire life and nothing has changed, it's only gotten worse, maybe it's time for you to look at who you're voting for and realize that maybe you're making not the wise choices and maybe you need to research these people a little better. I recommend E-Verify or Truth Finder or something to look at people's histories, including these politicians. Start doing your due diligence, and when you see something concerning in their background, start raising it. Start putting it on social media. Start pointing it out. Marissa says is a rabble rouser. I just want change. Look, we're all screwed. We're all in the same spot, right? We're all in the same pot. We're in the pot of despair, American despair. And we're being robbed blind by these people that say they care. You know damn well they don't care. They only care about their lifestyle. They're robbing from us so they can drive around in the Mercedes. They're robbing from us so they can have 15 houses while we live in poverty. Okay? Yeah, I'm sorry. I think we should fire our federal government. I'm just trying to find the people that are with me. I'm ready to take on the United States of America. I'm ready to whip these people into shape. I'm ready to get some money coming into our pockets. I'm ready to have better jobs, better lifestyles, you know? I'd like to see the people in my chat being able to buy their kids the shoes that they want, those 100, 200 pairs of shoes that we think are entirely a waste of money. I want people to have the option to be able to buy those for their kids without breaking the bank. That's what I want for the people. That's what I want for the people. But instead, we got politicians that are greedy and disgusting. And it's time for us to start kicking them to the curb. Okay? I'm sorry. It's just time for us to start kicking them to the curb. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I'm telling you what to look for when voting. Okay? This year, 2026 and 2028, we have balls and backbones on the ballot. If these people don't have balls and backbones, if they're not willing to kick in the frickin' front door and say, hey, I'm here, they don't need to be there. So if you're getting a mess of stuff, flyers in your mailbox, throw them away. Those are not your guys. Those are bought and paid for guys. You're waiting for the people that come and knock on your door. Okay? The groups that come and knock on your door to talk to you, you're voting for them. Okay? The people that are sending you flyers in the mail that you're not worth their time to come and speak to you and find out what your concerns are and what they're doing well and what they're not doing well, they don't need your vote. Okay? Those publications, those flyers in the mail cost a lot of money. A lot of money. Paper this day and age costs a lot of money. Have you bought toilet paper? That goes right down the toilet. Can you imagine some thick content, thick paper stock, pretty expensive. And then you put the mail, the little stamp on it, gets expensive quick. You know who has to pay for that? The people they really work for, right? The people they really work for. Because they ain't working for you. They're working for those special interests that are paying for those flyers to go in your mail. Okay? So if you ain't down with those special interest groups and you vote for that person, you just wasted your vote because you just voted for somebody that will never listen to you and listens to those special interests that put that mailer in your box. Fire those people. They're not worth the salt that paper is printed on. Okay? Trust me when I tell you this. You want the underdog. The underdog, in my opinion, those are the people that want to do right. Those are the statesmen. Those are the statesmen. And they don't get a whole lot of money from special interest. Why? Because they don't entertain the special interests. That's why they don't get the money. When they start getting the money from the special interest, it means that they're stroking something. Just saying. Not playing. I'm just saying. You're stroking something, but it ain't your luck. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. I hope you guys learned something. We are in an election year. It's a smaller election year. 2028 is going to be the big election year. But we still need everybody out there at the ballots. We still need everybody voting their conscience this year. This midterm is going to matter a lot for our country. We need everyone that has the ability to vote to make sure that you got your voter's registration card, your ID, and everything else. We don't know what's going on, but I can tell you there's a push for ID. So just make sure that you got the gold star on your ID. Remember Obama? That he didn't have a problem making us have to go. Do you know how long it took me to get that gold star? I had to go back to my house 5 different times. 5 different times to get shit for that gold star. And that was courtesy of Obama. Now we got all these little crybabies up there in Washington saying, oh my God, they can't do it. Well, they never had no problem doing it when we all needed the blessed gold stars, did they? They didn't care about how much time we were spending down there. They didn't care how much money we had to spend to buy and purchase all the stuff to get our little gold star on our driver's license. We were just told that we could not use our driver's license unless it had a gold star on it. So let's not forget courtesy of Obama. So let's quit crying about these driver's licenses. We need driver's license for every blessed thing. You need a driver's license to even get close to Bullhorn Betty. So if you need a driver's license to get close to me, well, you can take a driver's license right on down there to that DMV or to that election hub and put your name on Vote for Betty. Betty for president, okay? So make sure. And if you guys don't know who to vote for, you guys can always write in Bullhorn Betty, right? We'll take. We'll put Bullhorn Betty on the ballot. Everybody can write me in across this country. Write me in for president. Bullhorn Betty. If you don't like any of the presidents for 2028, make sure you pin in Bullhorn Betty for president. I wonder if I can get 1% of the entire population. Well, we do have this small percentage for a Bullhorn Betty. Has anybody heard of a Bullhorn Betty for president? Oh, that would be the day. That would be the day. I think I'd make a good president. No, I wouldn't make a good president. I'd fire the federal government. I would put an executive order relieving the entire House and Senate of their responsibilities. I'm just saying. They've been robbing us blind all this time. They don't need it. They don't need it. We'll turn the power back to the people. We'll turn the power back to the people. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And we will see you soon. If you made it this far in the show, please don't forget to hit that thumb up button and do me a solid. Hit that hype button and make a comment in the chat saying BHB is the best. We love you. We will see you soon.